Well, hello and welcome to Snake River Junction. My name is Gary. What do you do when you have way too many spare parts? Here's a solution. My next project is going to be making a Athearn diesel locomotive using spare parts from various Athearn trains that I had collected. The chassis, see in my hand, is left over from another project that I converted a F7A dummy locomotive to power to DCC ready. This was the chassis left over. The motor, see my hand, this one I had, it came out of a GP9 Athearn train. I had to replace it because the brass flywheels kept flying off. Flywheel. So I replaced that. Motor does work. I had some drive shaft couplers on, and it had some put it on here. Also have the ones I need to build this. So I have those two. Motor's been prepped. I flattened out the little flanges here, similar to the spare one I have. Just flattened it out, attached wire, similar to the way I did this one. In this case, I have a yellow goes from the bottom of the motor. Connected it to a copper-cladded board that I made. Slide it with a groove down here, so I have two halves. One for the black wire, or in this case yellow. One for the red wire, which I'm using green. And that's connected to the top one. So this is ready to go. In the chassis, I use liquid tape right down this groove. I use that because it's a lot easier than using regular electric tape. Let that dry. The power chassis, the trucks came from another lot, which I bought a bunch of different motors. This was in it. I also have in that lot a Mantua Tyco motor, torque engines. So all I really need is a shelf of that when I got a new one. So let's get started. For that, I did have to buy a shell. Got this Santa Fe. It's a GP50 with the number 3814 on it, because these clips here fit nicely in these grooves. And the motor just sits right in here. Locks it in place. So I need to get the trucks. Do that, you take a nice little flat screwdriver, get between side frame and the chassis underneath the worm gear cover, and you give it a little twist and it pops up. Try not to lose the wheel, the worm gear, because you're going to need that. Do the same thing for the other side. This chassis is kind of beat up, but still good. A little paint. Put it inside with all my spare parts. I need to take the trucks apart because I got to clean everything. First thing you want to do is this little cab. Get it under that and pops off. The bottom one, get under the wheel a little bit. Little flange on the side. Another one on the opposite side. That will pop off. And the two halves come right off. I'm gonna separate everything so I don't get them mixed up. Gears look pretty good. This is dry. You do want to make note of this little notch or something on here, because that has to face up and you got to put it back on. It's like a marker. Do the same thing for the other truck. Now that I get everything apart, it's gonna clean the two trucks and come back to put it back together. Right, everything has been cleaned. Now I just have to put the trucks back together. I'm gonna use high temperature grease. Just putting it in axle plate with the marker up. I'm gonna put it in the first one. The middle one is the small one. And the big one. A little bit on the gear wheel. This goes in that little slot. So I have that. I get the other side. sliding it in, bring the two halves together. Put the first clip on, which is motor clip. Before I put the bottom, I'm going to just put some more and you just put the clip on and just put it right on and it snaps into place. Put the worm gear on when I put it on the frame. Now the second one. Doing the same thing. Put the trucks in on it so the motor faces toward the right. So in the forward position. So this is where the light fixture used to be. It's a little tag. This little rusted old thing used to sit here. Not going to use that. Put LEDs in. So you want to put this pin in that little hole. And the upper part of the flange wants to face away from you. Then you put the worm gear, lock it in place, making sure the bearing nut is lined up. It slip right in, like that. Put a little grease on that. And lock it in place with the worm gear cover. Do the same for the rear truck. And then you put the drive shaft and line it up with the ball and clip it in. Take those gloves off, they're slippery. There we go. My track is still DC, so this way I can still use the train. So I gotta solder a wire. So one wire here, one wire there. The black wire side, or in this case the yellow, gonna solder it to this little screw or peg that's on the frame. To that. So from here to here. And then the LED, I just solder it from the front. A little flux here. Tin up the wires first. Then the power truck flange and circuit board. Use a little IPA to wipe it down. Solder the red wire to the flange. And then the other end to the circuit board. Looks like I might have to do it in 2 wires. Put it on the front one. Tinning the rivet. Get it on there without burning plastic. Worm gear cover. Yep, that's the connecting the ground. Solder on the other end to the circuit board. And there it goes. It's all wired up. I don't want to put LED right here. Now I have the LED already wired up with the resistor on the positive. I have a watch battery so I can test it with. And it does light. Need to cut the wires. It's a little bit too long. Twist these a little bit. Give it a little tin. Put some tin on the board. Red on the red side. Black on the black side of the circuit board. It's all wired up. I'm gonna give this a test. Just see if I can get power on here. Seems like I only got the light to come on, so I'm gonna turn this off and do some troubleshooting and be right back. As it turned out, the top motor connector clip was on too tight. A second issue, when the light goes on, it goes in the wrong direction. So I may have to take this red wire, put it on this side, black wire on that side, and that should fix the light situation. I got it to work. Just using spare parts. So let me go test it on the track, and then I'll show you it all put together with the shell. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye for now.